you all from Stony Bone, probably know him pretty good. Travis from Deaver, back there in the back, the tall bald head. And from up here in Arborville, I think most of you all probably know him. Sherry Radcliffe is our office manager, and she, of course, from the area. I'm sure most of you all probably knew her family as well. Robbie Mails in the back there. His mother is a shark from Marlington. And Tommy Kesterson there in the front, bald head. His wife is a school teacher down here at the school. I don't know if any of you all know any of them or not. Of course, Mike. I think most of you know.
I think everybody knows Mike.
Not that he's unimportant, but Tim Gibb, his grandparent worked up here at the observatory. Jim and Linda, some of you all probably know them. And then, of course, Dick Ridley. So that's our current staff, and they do a great job. We'll turn the time over now to Mike, and he's going to let you all know a little bit more about what we're doing on our project and some of the details about our expansion.
Well, that's one of the reasons I come. Jacob and Melinda never say enough about themselves or something out here. Three more people in that picture, Jacob, Melinda, and Jenna Lee. And Jenna Lee works as hard up there as anybody. Probably works harder than a lot of us up there. We counted it up, you know, there's 13 people in that picture. We counted it up this morning. There is 33 family members that our job site up here helps support, pay the bills, pays their taxes, buys their food, and gives them spending money. That's just in the staff that we have ourselves. That doesn't include like Pat Schalter and that comes in and does welding on the all of our welding, whether it be a truck or a rollback or anything that needs welded. Pat does it, and that's 4 more family people that we're supporting. We also have a couple of mechanics that come in and work on the trucks. We've got people that's plowing snow up there. All total, there's about 40-some people that mix construction. Their 4 companies are actually supporting and keeping off the welfare rolls around the county. What this is going to be, we've got a real quick slide presentation here. Then we'll show you what, you know, we want to be good neighbors. We are a good neighbor, even though we're 2–3/10 of a mile up the road. We still consider you to be neighbors. Good neighbors talk to each other. We don't just take half of what we hear and make other things out of it. So what we're going to do is we have just a quick slide presentation to go through here. We'll open it up and we'll try to answer all your questions, all your concerns. Then before comments been made several times that I've heard, we're rolling your deck out here. Before we leave, I'd like to go out on the deck with you. If we see something out there that we can correct, make your deck more enjoyable down here, we're willing to try to go to any extreme so that we don't interfere with what you are doing down here. That's one of Jacob's company, Jacob Mick Construction. We've done a lot of business with several of you here in the room. That mainly is Amos and Travis and Deaver. They're the main carpenters, but we all go out and help them paint, clean up, whatever else needs to be done. This alligator disposal that we do weekly garbage pickup. We have rollbacks, dumpsters, then we do metal recycling, Green Bank. Because it is state law requires us, by us being in solid waste, we have to recycle X amount of tonnage, X amount of materials a year. Last year we recycled over 500 tons of recyclables in the county. We've cleaned up what I think is a lot of eyesores. I know there's one vehicle. If you go to New Hope Church and drive up this way, you probably drove by it every day. Every time you went to church. Glad to see that vehicle's out there. Belonged to the boy, his right to put on whatever he wanted. I was glad to get to crush that car. This is our storage rental buildings that Jacob and them have. We see them every time we go to Green Bank. And I didn't think they'd do any good, but it seems like they're renting pretty well. Then this is his other business, is the outhouse. We supply portable toilets, we do septic tank pump. You know, we'll get into that, I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about that. And these next pictures, we went up and got approval from Mike Holstein to take these pictures. He didn't seem to have a problem with that. This is an aerial view of the sewer system at the observatory. You can see Site A, Site B, that's their 2 sewage ponds that they have there. An aerial view of Arbavale. The Arbavale Cemetery is right there beside of it. Their office building and everything is up the road. I don't really like aerial shots, but their office building and lab building is right up in that area.
Actually, where the NRAO, where the words are, where the office.
That's where the office building is.
Maintenance building back there.
And the maintenance building is down here. And then this is their sewage lagoon down here. This is from the, this is from up at the, as you're going down the road toward their sewer plant and their sewer pond. They drive there whenever they do tours. They take everyone's going to the Greenback Telescope. It is driven by this sewer plant. And you see it going and coming both. And you look right over it. This is a close-up view of the one pond. It's right alongside the road. And this is a shot standing where that last arrow was, looking from their sewer pond back up to the lab building.
One interesting detail here with this is, in relation to our project, the distance between this pond and their lab building would be very similar to your old building here and our property up there. So it kind of gives you a feel for distance.
And of course, we can see here, it plainly states sewer pond, not for recreation. Even though whenever you drive by, you see a duck out there or a goose out there swimming around in it. It is a sewer pond. It's not a recreation pond, and they plainly state that and advertise it there. This is looking from over the sewer pond, the Arbavale Cemetery, very close proximity to that plant up there.
You plan on dumping into there?
No, we're just using this as an example of what's already in the community.
Well, I smell that at my house. So you can't tell me that it doesn't stink.
Right here. Like I said, let me go through the presentation.
You're not going to just be able to have the floor to say whatever you want. We don't have rules here.
Okay.
I mean, if you're going to say stuff, I'm going to debate it.
Right now, we will, because you all were allowed to have your say last week.
And
John wanted them to be sure that they had their say this week. Now, after they're done, like you said, you're more than welcome to make comments or ask questions. You know, we'll make it very, very low key.
But
So just give them a moment.
this is their sewage discharge at the observatory. You can see the fence at the Arbavale Cemetery is right beside it.
Mike, let me ask you a question before we go any further, is it okay?
Okay.
Okay, now you're talking about the little sewer plant there at Arbavale down at the observatory.
Yes, sir.
I worked there 14 years.
Yes, sir.
I'm here for this meeting here in Greenville.
Okay. If you
Why
will
are
give
you
me,
showing that one up there?
if you would just give me a second, we wanted to show what the sewer plant that already exists right in the community, how close it was in proximity to the lab building, and we're getting there. If you'll just bear with me.
I will. But one more question, Mike. They don't take sewer from any other place except right there that the employees.
No, sir. We can't dump sewer into their lagoon. That's theirs. They're not permitted to take it. This is a diagram. Our existing property is right in this corner. This is the property that we would like to acquire from the county. Anybody spot the tank? This is an aerial view of the size tank we're wanting to put in. Can anybody spot the tank that we're wanting to put in on that property? Tank that we're wanting to put in is going to be right there.
What about the 6 50,000-gallon pits?
If you'll bear with me, we're planning on putting a 30 by 30, 8-foot tank, 8-foot deep tank in this property over there. Now bear with me.
It's not true. There it is.
Bear with me. I know what you have there.
Which you showed to the county commissioners.
What that shows.
That came off their desk.
What that shows is what we needed for setbacks to use that property, and the main thing we were showing was this
It shows
outline.
400,000 gallons of raw sewage.
Steve, you took bits and pieces, you took two and two, added them up and came up with 5. If you'll bear with me, we'll show you what we're planning, we'll show you what the plans are that we're trying to put in, and the reason behind it.
Let him do his presentation.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to hear
Yes,
what he's got to
just let
say, and then
Well,
maybe you
just
can
don't tell
argue.
us that you're gonna put a tank there.
Well, take notes while he's
We're
going.
planning
We're
on
arguing
putting
it
a
out.
30 foot wide, 30 foot long, 8-foot deep tank there. Now, you gonna believe something you heard out here on the street, or are you going to believe something that we're telling
I
you?
didn't hear it on the street. I got it off the,
He keep bouncing
What you
around.
have there is setback from an engineer that
this
we
was
would
on the
need.
desk of the county commissioners.
Steve, let him finish. Just let him
Let him
finish.
finish.
Let him make his presentation.
But that's the aerial view, and